Hi students, welcome to this session here at Infinity Learn by Sri Chaitanya. Today we are doing a few more questions on the physics part as a preparation for the score exam that's coming up this very Sunday on the 28th of September. So the syllabus, I hope you're all aware, it's still system of particles and rotational motion. So here we have a few questions that you can test yourself on. We'll give you an idea about the difficulty levels and what kind you can expect in the score exam. So those of you who are new here, so what is SCORE? SCORE is the nationwide scholarship exam conducted by Sri Chaitanya. It's both online, offline, with the goal of finding real talent, the students who are really good, and giving them scholarships along with multiple prizes as well. It's for all grades 3 to 12th. What all can you win here? You can obviously get scholarships, full scholarship for Sri Chaitanya courses, not just for JEE courses, but also for Olympiad courses and all of those things. You have cash prizes, you have gadgets, laptops, tabs, anything that help you study. You also have NASA trips, okay, all the way to NASA. If you want to become a space scientist and all of that, you get exposure to that. There's also recognitions, other stuff, but the most important is that you get to compete with the brightest students in the country. Every student of Sri Chaitanya who has eventually gone ahead and topped in JEE Mains or JEE Advanced has at some point given SCORE exam. So you can also be part of that legacy, get a test for where you stand with the rest of the students. Okay, it's both online and offline. 28th September is the first date. There would be one more SCORE exam on the 12th of October. That's not like it would vary center to center, but you can choose. The registrations will 26th, so today the registrations close, so make sure you register by tonight at srichaitanyascore.com if the registration is completely free. That being said, let's get into the questions that we'll discuss today. First up, here it says, n divisions on the main scale of a Vernier caliper coincide with n plus 1 divisions of the Vernier scale. If each division of the main scale is a units, then the least count of the instrument is how much? So how do we solve this? We know least count is always 1 main scale division minus 1 Vernier scale division, right? Now it is given that n main scale divisions correspond to n plus 1 Vernier scale division. So we write that down. N main scale divisions is equal to n plus 1 Vernier scale divisions. So that means 1 Vernier scale division is equal to n divided by n plus 1 main scale divisions, correct? Now we can plug it in the least count formula. In least count, we know that is 1 main scale division minus 1 Vernier scale division. That is 1 main scale division minus, what did we just get? 1 Vernier scale division was n divided by n plus 1. N plus 1 main scale division. So we get, if you do it here, n plus 1 minus n divided by n plus 1 main scale divisions, n's will cancel, you'll be left with 1 by n plus 1 times of a main scale division. Now it is given in the question that the main scale division, each division of the main scale is a units, so I can replace MSD with a, so a divided by n plus 1. That is the answer over here, option D. Hi JEE aspirant, welcome. Okay, let's move to our next question. This says the mass and the volume of a body are found to be 5 plus minus 0.05 and 1 plus minus 0.05 meter cube respectively. Maximum possible percentage error in the density would be how much? How do we proceed with this? First think what the formula for density is. Density is mass over volume. Since we want the percentage error in density, we know the percentage error in density, this is a multiplication or division form, which means the percentage error of each individual one will add up. M mass plus the percentage error in the volume. We have each of those individually, correct? Now what is the percentage error in mass? We are finding the total maximum error. We don't subtract even though it's down here. You're looking for the maximum possible error. Percentage error in mass is its error divided by its mean value, which is 0.05 divided by 5 times 100, and the percentage error in volume would be 0.05 divided by 1 times 100. Correct? What do we get over here? Now this I can cancel out, leave a 0.01, multiplied with 100, that will just be 1. And over here we will get 0.05 plus this would be a 5 here. 1 plus 5, it is 6%. That is the answer. Okay? How about the next one? Next question says a person moves 30 meters north, 20 meters to the east, and finally 30 root 2 meters in the southwest direction. The displacement of the person from the origin would be what? Whenever you have these multiple movements, especially one of them where it's in a random direction, then in that case you should always represent each motion as an independent vector. If you try to do them all, try to draw one after the other, you will get lost, especially if they are at these random angles, southwest and so on. So what do? Let's draw out our axis. We have the north, south, east, and we have the west here. First, 30 meters north, let's call this S1 vector. 30 meters north means you go from here 30 units. So your S1 vector is just 30 j cap. Next you go 20 meters to the east, we'll call that S2 vector. Now you might think it starts from here, but we don't draw them. We literally draw everything from the origin. It's easier for us to visualize the vectors. Okay? So it's 20 meters to the east means it's 20 here. Now it's in the I cap direction, positive x direction. So S2 vector is 20 I cap. And lastly we have the third one. This is the S3 vector. S3 vector has a magnitude of 30 root 2 and points in the southwest direction. Now again we draw from the origin, it's easier to visualize. Okay? So we have in this direction, magnitude is 30 root 2. We know it's southwest, that's why it's southwest. This angle is 45 degree. So what do we deal with this? Okay, what do we deal with this? We take the components. This side would be 30 root 2 cos 45. And this side would be 30 root 2 sine of 45. So this 30 root 2 cos 45 is what? 1 by root 2. So your S3 vector is equal to 30 root 2 into cos 45 is 1 by root 2 minus I cap because it's in the negative x direction, plus you have 30 root 2 sine 45. Sine 45 is again a 1 by root 2. That's in the minus j cap. Okay? She's at the online coaching, syllabus going on, okay? No, it's okay. If you have finished your syllabus in August, that's good. Get started with the practice. Your Sri Chaitanya modules you will have or Infinity Learn modules you have, start with the modules. Literally when you're revising, just go through it, spend like 10-20% time going over the formulas and head into the questions. Don't think that, okay, again I will give like 3 hours to revise the chapter first, the theory, then I will start with question. No, your revision should happen through questions at this point. It should not happen through reading the theory and remembering formulas. Okay. Now over here we want the total displacement. So the total displacement S vector is just S1 vector plus S2 vector plus S3 vector. If you put them all in, what do we have? We have this will cancel out, this will cancel out. So you have, if you add them, you have a 30 j cap, you have a minus 30 j cap. So the j cap part would be 0. The I cap would be 20 minus 30 I cap. This does not have an I cap. This has a minus 30 I cap. What about j cap? J cap would be 30 minus 30. Right? Because here there's a minus 30, here there's a plus 30. So my final S vector will come out to be minus 10 I cap. What does minus 10 I cap mean? It means towards the west, magnitude of 10. So option C is 10 meters along the west. I did reference book, solved example. Solved examples, yes, you can do solved examples, especially you start doing in a chapter where you see, you know the formulas, but you can't solve the questions. You tried a few, you could not solve it. Even though they are formula centric, you were not able to solve it. Then you go for the solved examples. And the thing with solved examples, don't like, okay, I saw it. No, you see it, understand it, close the book, try to solve it once by yourself. Then maybe again 2-3 days later, try to solve it again without seeing. This time don't even see the first time. You have to at least do it twice. Then you will see once you do a few solved examples, you will learn how to understand, how to approach. Most of the time when you can't start a question is because you don't know the approach to start a question. That is not specific to each chapter. That's a skill you'll develop by going through solved example. But you have to do it strategically. See the solution, close the book, solve it once by yourself, then 2 days later solve it again without seeing. Once you do that, keep up this habit, within a month you will see a lot of change. Okay, chalo, we go for the next one. This says the velocity of a particle v is equal to v naught plus gt plus ft square. If its position is x equal to 0 at t equal to 0, then its displacement after a time t equal to 1 would be how much? Okay, how do we do it? We have the simple velocity relation. We want to go to the position displacement. We know that v is equal to dx dt, which means integration dx, integration of v dt. You start from a value of x equal to 0 and go to a value of say x naught. This is what I'm trying to find. And time starts at t equal to 0 and you go to a time of t equal to 1 seconds. Over here if we integrate, we will just get x. Over here, if you integrate this part, you will get v naught t plus gt square by 2 plus ft cube by 3. Limits going from 0 to 1. So literally here I don't have to think too much. Keep it x naught. It's x naught minus 0. 0 won't really make a difference. Here put t equal to 1 throughout. I will get v naught plus g by 2 plus f by 3 minus everywhere you put 0. Since everything has a t, they'll all become 0. You don't care about that. So we have v naught plus g by 2 plus f by 3. Option C. That is the displacement. Okay. Next question says, two projectiles A and B are thrown with speeds in the ratio 1:√2. They both acquired the same height. If A is thrown at an angle of 45 degrees with the horizontal, then the angle of projection of the B would be what? So remember, for projectiles, you need to remember the three main formulas. The formula for range, maximum height and time of flight. You can derive it on spot, but those questions come so often that it's better that you remember. Again, don't sit and start mugging up like you do history. Remembering a formula means you solve enough questions on it that it stays in your mind. That's how you remember formulas in physics. Not like reading, if I read that formula 50 times, I will remember it. That is not how physics formulas will work. Okay? Chalo, over here, what is the formula for the maximum height? It is u square sine square theta divided by 2g. Now in the first case, they have said that this is equal to, that maximum height is, I'll call it u1, the initial one, u1 square sine square theta 1 divided by 2g, and h is equal to u2 square sine square theta 2 divided by 2g. Same height, they reach the same height. If I equate it, what will I get? u1 square sine square theta 1, that is equal to u2 square sine square theta 2. Then I will have a u1 over u2 whole square into sine square theta 1, that is a sine square theta 2. Now u1 by u2 is given to us as a ratio of 1:√2. If I square that, I will get a half. Sine square theta 1. Theta 1 is given to us as 45 degrees. Sine 45 is 1/√2. You square that, you get a 1/2. That's sine square theta 2. So sine of theta 2 would just be half. I mean, root over of this, which means theta 2 would be 45 degree. Option D. श्यामलाल, इस चैनल पे हिंदी पे नहीं बोलेंगे, आप इन्फिनिटी लर्न जेई चैनल पे जाओ, वहाँ पे हिंदी में पढ़ाई होता है, वहाँ पे यू कैन गो एंड सी. That will just come with practice. Don't overthink, Havya. Since you have not done enough question practice, that is why you are missing out on formulas. So if you do enough practice, those formulas will stay. Don't overthink, Havya. That's just low confidence. Just do practice. I'm telling you, you'll build it up. Don't overthink that. Those are not major problems. Major problems is you have not had enough practice. So let's fix that. If you fix that, all of these issues will by itself. It's like on the side, they will get fixed by themselves. You don't have to focus on that. Achha, artillery piece consistently shoots its shells with the same muzzle speed. Muzzle speed means same launch speed. Has a maximum range of R. To hit a target which is R/2 from the gun and on the same level, the elevation angle of the gun should be what? Now we know the maximum range is u square divided by g. Okay, so that is given as R, u is given u square, so on and so forth. And the general formula for R for a range normally is u square sine 2 theta divided by g. Correct? In our case, it is given that it is R max by 2. Okay, R max is basically that is R. Okay, that is u square sine 2 theta by g. So what do we have here? R max, if I replace from here, u square by 2g is equal to u square sine 2 theta by g. Take the g's out, take the u squares out, you will have sine 2 theta is equal to half, which means 2 theta is equal to 30 degree, meaning theta, the angle at which it was launched, is 15 degree. It is option A. Okay, I'm looking like student. Okay, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. Chalo, go for this one. It doesn't matter if I look like a student. If I teach like a teacher, that's fine. Okay, this says a car having a mass of 1000 kg is moving at a speed of 30 meters per second. Brakes are applied to bring the car to rest. If the frictional force between the tires and the road surface is 5000 newtons, the car will come to rest in how much time? So this is like the retarding force for you. You have the initial velocity, you have the mass. This is the only force that is causing any acceleration that slows it down. So how do we find it? We can find the acceleration is literally force divided by the mass. Only force is the frictional force, 5000. Mass is how much? 1000. That is 5 meters per second square. And remember, this is basically a deceleration. They are asking, you want to bring the car to rest. This becomes your initial speed. This is your u, okay? And since it comes to rest, you know final speed is 0. You want the time. So simple, you go for v is equal to u minus at. Why am I going for minus? Because it's a retardation. V is 0, u is 30, acceleration is 5, and the t. So if you solve, t would come out 30 over 5. That would be 6. So option D, 6 seconds. Okay. Next one. This says the rate of mass of the gas emitted from the rear of a rocket is initially 0.1 kg per second. If the speed of the gas relative to the rocket is 50 meters per second and the mass of the rocket is 2 kg, then the acceleration of the rocket in meters per second square is. This deals with your variable mass system and rocket propulsion. There is a straightforward formula for that. It tells you that the force of basically the thrust is u dm dt. There's a negative sign sometimes. Negative sign just represents that the mass is decreasing. It's just for direction. We don't really care about that here. We can stick to this. U is equal, so over here this is the force, that's mass times the acceleration. That's u dm dt. So the acceleration is u by m dm dt. U is the speed with which the gases are emitted relative to the rocket, that's given 50 meters per second. The mass of the rocket at that moment, obviously mass is changing, but the moment where we want, there the mass is 2 kg. And the dm dt as a whole is this 0.1 kg per second because this is the rate at which the fuel is burnt and thrown out. So mass is decreasing at that rate over there. So that's 0.1 goes with the 25. 25 times 0.1, you will arrive at a 2.5. Option D. Okay. We go for the next one. It says a couple force produces what kind of a motion? A couple force basically means, suppose if you have a rod like this, couple force means equal forces, equal in magnitude, opposite in direction, not acting on the straight line. A couple force can only give rotational motion, it can only give a torque. Why? Because there will be a torque, it will turn about its central point because each of these forces are a perpendicular distance away, so on and so forth. But the net force will be 0. Why? Because you see, in force you don't care where you apply the force. You just care, okay, one force that side, one force this side, they cancel out. So that is why net force is 0 in a couple. So no translational acceleration, but there is a torque, so there is rotation. It is option B. Okay. This one says a gymnast takes turns with her arms and legs stretched. When she pulls her arms and legs in, what happens to the angular velocity, so on and so forth. So if she has her arms and legs stretched out, then her mass, the mass of her body, at least the part in her hands and legs, are far apart from the axis about which she rotates. And we know the moment of inertia is generally some constant into mr square. So it depends how far away the mass is from the axis. When she has her hands stretched out, mass is further away from her axis. As a result, moment of inertia is high. When she pulls her hands and legs in, now the mass is still the same, but the mass is a lot closer to her axis. So moment of inertia decreases. Okay, so we already see an option B here, but just remember, even if she pulls her hands and legs in, her angular momentum will not change because there was no torque, there was no external torque. So as a result, we know angular momentum staying constant means if she pulls her hands and legs in, moment of inertia decreases, but the angular velocity has to go up to compensate for it because I times omega should be constant. So angular velocity, if they would have said increases, it would have been correct. Here it says decreases, so incorrect. Angular velocity stays constant, nope. Moment of inertia goes down, angular velocity has to go up. Angular momentum increases. No, angular momentum stays constant. Conservation of angular momentum. Only possible option, option B. Okay. So I think that was the last question for today, students. Just a quick reminder, this is your entire syllabus. You have the test on Sunday for those of you who have taken the 28th September date. It's a 2-hour exam. You'll have physics 20 questions, chemistry 20, maths 20. I'll just step aside so that you can see what the syllabus is. In physics, it's still rotational, chemistry, basic concepts, atomic structure, classification of elements, chemical bonding and thermo. And in maths, you have sets, relations, functions, trigonometric functions, sequence series, straight lines, and limits and derivatives. Okay, so prepare for that well. Today is the last day of registration, 26th September. You have 28th September as the exam. Those of you who have opted for the 12th October one, for them the registration is 10th. It will stay open till 10th. Just remember that it's not like you can choose. It depends center by center. So please check if you have not registered that in your nearest center, is the 12th October date available or is 20th September only available? So based on that, please check today itself and register. We'll keep it till here. Then students, if you enjoyed this session, please like the video. Stay subscribed to the Sri Chaitanya channel over here. Per chapter, how many questions I should solve to reach JEE Mains level? Quality questions, where can I find them? So preferably, if you struggle a lot with a chapter, formulas only are not known, then in your module you will have level 1 questions. Solve them. If you feel okay, formulas are in a decent place, I just want basic questions I no more want, then do level 2. And very, very importantly, your PYQs, JEE Mains PYQs, 5 years, at least 5 years you should do till 2020, the COVID years. Preferably you want to go a little further around 2017, 2016 if possible, try to reach till there. Okay, but PYQs are very, very important for you. Okay, so with that, we'll keep the session till here, students. I hope you enjoyed the session. Hope you have a really good performance in the score exam. You get all of these awards that are available for you. I'll keep it till here then. Thank you all so much for tuning in for this session. Catch you all again in the next one.